Test, test. Test, test.
Where do you want me?
See my stuff in the middle there?
You're here.
Down in one of those
Well, we
chairs.
take this one. Uh-oh. I don't expect me to bend.
Okay.
Hey, Martha.
What?
Holly's moving in, right? So she doesn't really need to sit at that piano all the whole time.
No, no.
So what do I tell her?
Tell her to come sit with you. Maybe she's just checking over her music. Yeah. Dick, I'm pulling the table back. There. That gives them more room for their chairs.
You're here.
Well, you know what? I think I'm going to sit there because I'm going to get up at one
You want
time.
me to get sit here?
No, I want you to sit here.
Okay.
I'm going to sit there.
This is for the vice president, the new vice president.
Okay.
I brought it because I got all my stuff.
I'm going to turn over the introduction of neighborhood representatives, new residents to you, and you, whatever you told them, I'm going to let you be in charge of it.
I just got the names that I
Yeah.
could print.
Well, Ethel has hers. I had the list, and Ethel pulled hers off.
Well,
Is that nice?
father sent this damn thing. It was
I know.
55 miles long, and I didn't need that.
Well, there's what it is.
I know, she finally said it to me.
Yeah.
I asked her twice, so, excuse me. Who's this?
That's mine.
Okay. You're gonna sit over here?
Yeah, because when I talk at the beginning, I think I'm going to stand up there at the podium.
Okay. Okay.
I'm running to grab my cheat sheet.
Oh.
the options are brought up.
Hey, I'm gonna shut my mouth.
But we're not gonna do that today.
Just do it, get it over with. Hey Landis, I like the.
You what?
I like the form. I like that.
Oh.
There it is. I like this.
Well, Paul wrote that up years ago, and I updated it. Is all. In fact, really everything that I've done, I just updated Paul. He did such a good job with it. I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's the truth. I'm all for that. Ooh, is it a hot day? Whoa.
What do you mean, hot day? It's fantastic.
I know it is. Where is Lucia? Is she here yet?
Well, I don't think I see her. I'm not familiar enough to make it a statement.
I don't see her. I don't see her. Oh,
Well,
she's
it's
coming.
early.
Huh?
She's not late. Hello, Sam.
Martha has some extra mats, doesn't she?
Make some what?
We have any mats? Some people.
There's some over there. Yeah, I'll take it.
At the door. Huh? Good Joe.
Hello, Ed.
I'm going to be in the corner.
You got sent to the corner, huh?
I'll do the prayer, and then at the end, when it's my part again, I'll just get up and hide.
Well, that's the way it's in charge.
Okay, I'm going to be hiding in the corner. I'll do the prayer, and then I'll hide in the corner until I get to my part again. I know, but it's resonating, so I'm not here actually. It's okay. That's fine.
we got more things. Come back.
Well, that's a good sign. Well, no, it's still $10.
No, they're just seats. It's getting hard when they get out of your way. Good afternoon, Mr. Carrier.
Okay.
joint venture. Dr. Holman.
We never know.
Table. When it's time for the Secretary Treasurer's report vote, I'm going to say that it is in your paperwork. It is the top of the second page, and then we're going to vote. And I'm going to ask you to read the.
This number,
Be sure you get a mic. And those round mics you have to hold right to your mouth. And you can take your mask off up here.
That's it. Oh.
You can scoot in here by Dick. You want to be up here at the top. Yes, ma'am.
What did I say?
Yes. I don't know. We're going to start, so come on up to the table.
Okay.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. No, I didn't save my cell phone. You'll save one for yourself.
Here we go.
I only have one thing to say.
Yes, Sam.
Huh? Lakeside. Lakeside.
Is this on now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see if
Yeah.
anybody needs this. Far on that.
If we plan accordingly.
It's 3 o'clock, and I would like to welcome all of you, yes, to the first residence meeting in 20 months. Thank you. It's so good to see everybody here. We're going to open with an invocation by Etta, our chaplain.
Let us pray. God, you are so awesome, so majestic, so wonderful, so loving, so all worthy of our praise, our honor, and our glory. God, you have protected us through dangers seen and unseen. It's been over 20 months that we've been able to gather together in this assembly, and yet you've been faithful. God, in this Advent season, help us to remember our hope that we find in Jesus Christ. Help us to find the love that you extended to us as you sent your only Son into this world that you might redeem us back unto you. Help us to find that joy, the joy of your salvation, the joy of knowing that even through this temporal life that we have eternal life with you. And God, help us to have the peace that passes all understanding, the peace that guards our minds and our hearts, the peace that keeps us connected in this community together. God, we ask that you would guide us in all our deliberations today, in all of our thoughts and all of our words and our deeds. Guide us in the business of Florida Presbyterian Homes as we continue to work in the ministry that you called us to. Don't let our minds and our hands be idle, God, but let us use them to spread joy, to spread peace, hope, and love throughout this season, and not just this season, but throughout this year. Continue to bless this community and others like it, God, that we may reflect the mission and the vision that you've given us to serve older adults in this community, God, to help them to have the quality of life that they desire until they journey to be with you. Continue to be with our residents and those who lead our residents, with our staff and those who lead our staff, with our family members, our visitors, and our members. As they come to this campus, God, they will feel your love exuding from one to another. Let our joy and our love be contagious. Let it be contagious in this season, God. And we'll be so careful that all honor, all glory, all praise, all adoration will continually go to you and you alone. Continue to place your loving hands of protection around us is our prayer. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I provided an agenda for you, but I immediately looked at it and decided that it needed to be changed a little bit, so I'm going to right now jump ahead to where it says comments. Because we have many new residents, I feel that it's necessary for us to explain the structure and purpose of this residence council. So I'm going to start there, and then Joe will talk to you briefly about how the residence council connects with the administration, and then we'll go back to the right order and the agenda. I have notes, so I need to step over here. The residence council is under the umbrella of the Office of yes? Etta has to fix it.
Just talk in your normal voice.
All right, testing, is that better? Thank you. Thanks, Etta. The Office of Insurance Regulation is the umbrella that's over many organizations in Florida, as well as Life Plan, or as we used to know it, Continuing Care, organizations like ours. We answer to them. The purpose of this, and they insist, part of their rules are that we have, every community like this has a residence council. So as long as Florida Presbyterian Homes has been here, there has been a residence council. The purpose is for us to maintain a close fellowship, relationship with the residents as well as individuals, community, in order to respond to the needs, concerns, and ideas of our residents. The Residence Council represents residents to the board and to the administration. All residents are members of this council. There are no dues, and everyone has a vote, as you will have today. We have 2 fund drives each year, and that's all. There are no other fund drives from the Residence Council. That's the Activities Fund in the spring, the Employees Christmas Gift, and Landis Fleming, our finance chairman, is going to talk to you a little more about those in a few minutes. We operate under bylaws. Bylaws were written at the beginning, and they have been amended through the years. We have officers. We have a president, a vice president, a secretary, treasurer, associate treasurer, a nominating committee chair, and a finance committee chair. They're elected annually, and they're elected at this December meeting. The Residence Council, under normal circumstances, meets 4 times a year in a meeting like this: February, May, September, and December, which is the annual election. In addition to that, the executive committee, those officers that I just named, meet monthly. And we have met monthly for the last 20 months, teleconferencing until just recently when we were able to get together again. And let's see, we also have, the Residence Council always has 2 voting members on the Florida Presbyterian Board of Directors. And that is the president, the current president, and the past president serve on the board. Now, you may have questions, and I would ask that if you do have questions about the Residents' Council, that in order to keep our meeting timely, we could answer questions at the end of the meeting after we adjourn. Thank you. Joe, would you come and talk to us now about the connection?
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay? All right. Thank you first for inviting me to be here to this meeting. I hadn't really done the count. 20 months is a long time. And by the number of people who are here, it's a good thing we're able to gather together in this way. We're very fortunate, very blessed to be able to do that at this point. What I've been asked to do is give an overview on how administration, the management, the board, and the resident council connect. You know, what is our responsibilities? How do we work together for the betterment of the organization? It's been, since I've been here, in the 3 years that I've been here, it'll be 3 years in January, I always meet once a month with the resident council chair. I always meet once a month with the resident council chair. I also meet with the entire resident council executive officers, usually that same week after I've met with the chair. As Martha shared, the resident council officers will put forth and recommend resident board members on the board. They are, in their bylaws, the way the bylaws are written now, the recommendation is the existing resident council chair and the immediate past chair. So those are the two people who represent as full board members on the board. They are not solely there as board members just to represent the residents. They're also there to focus on what is in the best interest of Florida Presbyterian homes. It's not an easy role for these people. The reason I say it's not an easy role is because they get pulled in different ways. You think of 300 residents who reside here, and they see, oh, that person is on the board, and they're a resident. Well, I'll tell them I want chicken every Tuesday. And they'll tell the board, the whole resident population wants chicken every Tuesday. And then they get the board saying, hey, you've got to think of the big picture, not just only the residents. You've got to look at the entire organization. So for the people who are in that role, it's not easy. And it's something that we hope that when you're communicating with your officers, that you're sharing information with them with the understanding of the challenge they have in that role. How do we connect in terms of when there's an issue, when there's something that residents are not happy about? This is extremely important. To me, as a resident, I look at you guys and I say, when you have a problem, the best place to address it is if you can address it immediately with the staff that is right in front of you. We call those level 1 problems. And I'll give you an example of a level 1 problem. A level 1 problem would be you're in the dining room and you order your meal and you get a meal and you go, I can't eat this. I don't like it. If you write me an email saying, hey, I had a bad piece of chicken on Tuesday night, can you do something about it? Well, I get it on Wednesday. You had to deal with that bad piece of chicken. Instead, say to the staff person immediately in front of you, can you help me? Can you get me something else? I can't eat this. That's the fastest way to get a level 1 issue addressed. Go directly to the employee that you're communicating with that owns that issue. Now, level 2. let's take that issue and say there's a group of residents who say, you know what, we're having a problem in the dining room. Every time we get chicken, it's just not quality chicken. And we start to hear that from residents. At that point, you go to the manager. That's where you would go to Dean and say, Dean, there's a group of residents, we feel this isn't good and this is an issue for us. At that point, if Dean can't address that issue, and it's his job to look into it and evaluate and try to address that issue, if he can't or he's not responsive to that issue, you have other options. Your other options are to go to the dining committee of the resident council and say, you know, we're not getting a response from management on this issue. Could you please look into this? And then dining committee can look into it. They can ask for a meeting with me, a meeting with Dean, and say, you know, we're finding out that there's a large number of residents who are having an issue with the chicken in the dining room. And then it's up to us as management to respond. And if we don't respond, then the resident council chair has the authority to go to the board chair and say, Joe's been aware of this, Dean's been aware of this, it's not getting adequately addressed. We're hearing this from a lot of our residents, not just one or two. This is a big issue. And then the board chair calls me, and we sit down, we figure out how we're going to address this issue. Now, I've just taken an example and kind of narrowed it in a very kind of basic manner. But again, the best place to get something resolved immediately is with the person in the area that owns that issue. So if it's something in facilities and you can't get the facilities staff person to address that issue successfully for you, you bump it up to Rick. If Rick is not getting that resolved for you, you bump it up to me, because Rick is my direct report. If it's something on a larger scale in the organization and you feel like management's not been responsive to the issue, you can bring it to the committee of the resident council, you can bring it to the officers, you can bring it to the chair of the resident council. And then the resident council chair has the authority to go over me and go to the board with the issue. If you had that bad piece of chicken and you're writing a board member saying, I had a bad piece of chicken, you know how far away that board member is from the chicken that got on your plate? They're like, I don't even know what chicken Vesuvio is. I don't even know why they serve it. And it's like, it takes longer to get those issues addressed if you don't start with the person right in front of you. And we tell our staff, you're empowered to resolve these issues. And if they can't successfully resolve them for you, then you move up the chain of command, and that's process-wise the fastest way to get things done.
On the back of your front page of your agenda, you will find the Secretary's report. It's a bit confusing because we did have a Secretary's report last year when we didn't have a meeting, and that's what you're reading, is that we sent out Secretary's report from the year before. We sent a ballot for you to vote. All that was done on paper a year ago now. So those are the minutes that you're reading from that mail out or handout. We need to vote now to accept the minutes. And if you're making a motion, which I will be asking for, could you please give your name so that our secretary can take accurate notes, that who made the motion, who seconded it, and then we will vote. So now I call for a motion to accept. All right, Sam, to accept the minutes from 2021. A second? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, now in addition to that, in your packet of papers, you have a excuse me. Financial report summary, November 30th.
We had in the treasury 74,000, I'm sorry.
Put it right close.
In the treasury, as November the 30th, we had 74,149.01 cents.
Do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Name?
That amount, does that include the Christmas gift? Or has that been taken out yet?
No, it had not been taken out. It has not been taken out of this.
Do I have a motion to accept this financial report? Marilyn Randolph, a second. All those in favor of accepting the November 2021 financial report, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you. On the back of that same sheet, we don't vote on this, but I thought you would be interested in seeing how the money from the bid house and the Vol shop has been dispersed in the past year. I know I was very interested in it. You see, I would see those totals and I'd think, where's that money going to go? Well, here it is. It's for your perusal. We do not need to vote on that. Landis, will you talk to us, please, about the activity fund and employee Christmas gift fund?
I have a green light. I assume this means it's on. Okay. Also, as Martha, you mean they don't taste good. After the meeting, for people, any of you that wants to know how we did some of these things on the funds and so forth, I'll be glad to give you the inside scoop. But for now, we'll just go through the report and the recommendations from the Finance Committee. From the 2021 results, just a report, the goal was $1,500 for the Activities Fund. We collected $3,180, and there was $3,050 was allocated to the different activities. We have currently 16 activities that are funded through the Residence Council. The 2021 Annual Christmas Fund Drive, which we just completed, we had a goal of $42,000. We collected $50,358. We dispersed $50,330 to 131 employees. I think that's great. We have our business to do concerning next year. The Finance Committee recommends to the Residence Council for authorization the Activities Fund distribution for 2022 activities, which has a total of $2,300. Oop, get the wrong page. Okay. This $2,300 is from asking each of the activity groups what additional money they needed for the balance that they're going to carry over from this year and the amount they project that they will need next year. And the total of those requests was $2,300. So we need a motion to release the $2,300, which is a part of your Finance Committee thing you just saw that's in your hands, which is left over from last March and April's Activities Fund Drive to designate $2,300 as per requested by the individual groups for their activities. The groups, I want to compliment, they don't pad their budgets. They give us what they think that they will really need. We have a reserve in the bank, for lack of a better word, and if they run across something real special and they need additional funds, then the Finance Committee and the Treasurer will give them more of that money out of the reserve so they can keep going. So they don't have to worry about that if they underestimated what they were going to need, they'd have to curtail their activities. So the Finance Committee asked for authorization to distribute the $2,300 from this year's funds to the activity group.
Do we have a motion for that?
I so moved.
Polly Carlin. Do we have a second?
Second.
Sue Mayo, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Okay, the second thing that business we have to act on as Residents Council is next year's activity fund drive. That activity fund drive will run from March the 1st, 2022 through May the 2nd, 2022, and a goal of $1,500. What is your pleasure?
I need a motion now to accept that budget for the 2022. Bob? Jeannie Watkins. A second, please. Second, Lynn Barron. Bob, discussion?
Question is, so there will be no fund drive, it's, everything is already collected, is that correct?
No, the fund drive we will have from March the 1st next year to May the 22nd of $1,500, which goes for the following year, 2023. No, that's a fund drive.
Thank you.
So we'll be begging for money.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting that fund drive budget, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, our annual Employees Christmas Fund Drive is a repeat of what we just did for this year's. We recommend a goal of $42,000 from September the 5th, November 2022 to November the 8th, 2022. And that's the money that will be distributed to our employees that are employees the first week of November. That's how that is determined.
Landis, would you explain a little more about how the amount is just time-wise?
What?
How we determine the amount of the gift, that it's...
Okay. We have a formula that's been derived and modified over the years. We take the number of employees based on the records that Kim Roberts puts together for us each year, so that we have a list of all the employees that are eligible November the 1st. We then give each of the employees what we call a base. So if they've been an employee for less than a year, they get $100. If they've been an employee for a year or more, the base is $125. Then we take the remaining money that's left, we divide it by the number of years that the employees have total. That gives us a yearly rate. Then each employee has their years times that yearly rate added to their base. And that's how that money is arrived at. The amount of money that the employees are getting has a real wide differential from as low as $100 to over $2,000. In order to bring those figures closer together, after they get 10 years, they do not accumulate any more years. So this year, if they had 20 years, they don't get 21, they still retain their 20 years. And we've seen it over the last few years. Now then, as the short term, under 10 years, people are getting more money in proportion than they used to, and it's kind of frozen the ones above 10 years.
Thanks, Landis. Aren't you glad you didn't have to figure that out? We need a motion now to accept the Employee Christmas Gift Fund Drive for 2022. Sam, okay. And now a second. Thank you. Any further discussion on the Employee Christmas Drive? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the Christmas Fund Drive is passed. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more piece of information for you.
Yes.
It was established years ago, before we got here, a procedure for people to pay in monthly so that they wouldn't have a big amount to be asked for at the end of the year for the Christmas fund. Those forms can be obtained from Ann Smith or from Carol. After you fill out the form, they give it to the Finance Committee, and the Finance Committee then will add to your monthly fee the amount of money that you have designated for them to do. And these are suggested numbers. You can tell them you only give $10,000 a month, and that's what they'll do. We won't bother anybody else in. But if you get those from Carol or from Ann, then they will pass them on to the Finance Department. Then Sabrina, I think, gets them, and they will act on them. Many of our peoples do that, and then at the end of the year, they add to that. And I'm not aware we've ever turned down any money. So we would appreciate it if you would do it. The other thing I'll tell you, even though we collected $50,000, we kept our goal at $42,000, which is what we collected, except for one previous resident that died, left us $7,500. So that took it up to the $50,000. And last year, the collection was more than the goal also. But we have a generous community, and they don't try to match goals, they beat goals. So we say thank you for that.
Thank you, Landis. I see that I've varied already from the agenda. I guess you can keep up with me. Bob Tebby, would you introduce the officers for 2022?
Okay, on behalf of the nominating committee, I would like to present to you the slate of officers to serve beginning January 1st, 2022 through the end of 2022. Stand up and stay standing until we've got everybody's name read off.
Yep.
Nominated for president, Dick Huggins. For vice president, Lucia Solomon. For secretary, Ethel Ewing. For treasurer, Paul Collier, and I don't believe he is here today. Associate treasurer, Sally Friedman. Immediate past president and representative to the board, Martha Pope. Chair of the Finance Committee, Landis Fleming, and Chair of the Nominating Committee, Linda Demers. Now, these nominations have come to you on behalf of the Nominating Committee, so we don't need a motion, but we do need a second. Could we have a second to the motion of accepting these officers as for 2022? Okay. Two things. Do we have any discussion? And also, as always, the floor is open for other nominations should you choose to make them. Seeing no questions, could we vote by voice? And if there's any division, then we can handle it then. So all those in favor of accepting the slate of officers as presented by the nominating committee, please respond by saying aye. Any opposed? The slate of officers is accepted.
Thank you,
May be
Bob.
seated. There's two other, for the nominating committee, new members who will be starting to serve January of 2022. From Bauer Haynes, Joan Betcher, Lakeside Heights, Joan Buccino. If you could stand, please, so people can see who you are. For Bunker, Peggy Weaver. I don't think we need a motion to accept these, but if we could have, just by voice, accepting these people on the nominating committee, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And for the Finance Committee, new members, Lakeside Heights, Jim Meyer. Assisted living, the apartments, and a lot of other places, George Molson. And Bauer Haynes, Sam Hoteling. Thank you. And by the same token, could we just have a vote accepting them by signify by saying aye? Aye. Okay, these are accepted to serve. Thank you all very much for being willing to serve, and good luck next year.
Thank you, Bob. What? No, Ed is here. Etta, would, okay, the people we're going to, Etta was going to install the new resident council officers, and Janice wants us to step forward. You can stay right there if you have to.
If you would come to the front of the table and face your peers.
So we can see you.
Do you have to be held up?
Yeah, holding it.
Hey, behind your mask, I need you to smile. I'm going to read what you actually would be saying for your position, and if you agree, I need you to say affirmly, I will, in a voice that's loud for everyone to make sure that you affirm. I do solemnly affirm, and I will faithfully, honestly, and ethically perform my duties in my elected office in accordance with the Residence Council bylaws of Florida Presbyterian Homes. And if you agree to do so with a loud, cheerful voice, I will.
I will.
Sounds like everybody's in agreement there. To God be the glory. I pray God's blessings on you as you continue the business of Florida Presbyterian Homes, and spread joy. Spread joy.
Are you aiming at me? Are you aiming at me?
Will you say that so happy and so gaily because it's your last day?
Could be. The next thing on our agenda is to have new residents introduced. And Dick Huggins will be in charge of that.
Who else is doing it? Did you say Ethel has it?
I think, Ethel, you have names to introduce or not? Do you want Dick?
Want me to do it? I can do it. Okay. All of those new residents, please stand. No. No, you don't have to stand yet. I didn't read your name.
Let me get back in there.
Those who didn't want me to read their name can leave. No. No, you can't. From the AL, we have Marilyn Adams and Marianne Holloway. And everybody can say, yay. Good. Bauer Haynes, we have Shirley Bigley. If you can't stand, just wave. That's good-natured. Okay, Joan Butticher, Jackie Wilhelm, Judy Ash, Bill Endress, and Don Keene. If you're here, stand. If not, don't. Okay, in for Bunker, we have Bob Becker, Buffy Roller, Sherry Northcutt, Roy and Vita Dyer, Larry Simon, and Lucia. You can stand again, too. See that? All right, and everybody say, welcome.
Welcome.
That's good-natured. That's what Etta wanted, right? And she left. Okay. And in GA Apartments, we have Bud and Jean Lannon. Here? No. Okay, Highlands, we have Roger and Pat. They've been here under an assumed name before this, so. Okay. Jerry and Carol Larson. Good, welcome. Kristen Failing is, no. You can say welcome too. George Hudson and Lake Hunter. And in Lakeside Court, we have Bob and Nancy Slavkovsky, and they're here. You can stand. I don't know how your name's there, so stand up anyway. Amos and Jeanette Valentine, Agatha Mullins and Minnie Dean, and Margaret Wolf.
Okay.
MJM, we have Bruce Rissmiller. Is Bruce here? No, he decided not to show up. Jeff Fee and Nora Rife. There's Jeff. Ed Trinklin, Porter McGrath. Okay, David and Linda Palmer on Talley Street. Stand down. Okay, Nancy March and Garris Garden, Kent Bristol and Nancy Noonan. Here, there's the wave. Okay, good. Jack and his wife. Doug and Kim. Why would your name be on? Because we moved. Huh? We moved. Oh, you moved, that's right. Ruined the neighborhood. Good. Okay. Connie Beauvais and Terrace Garden Lane. You're mentioned again, so there you are. Philip and Mary Likes in Terrace Garden Lane. And Jim and Dottie Winslow. Mary Pierce. I'm only reading what I have. If you aren't here, ignore it. Robert and Irene Sexton in Terrace Garden Lane, and Mitzi Waters. Jim and Marilyn Cummings. On Waverly Court, and Maurice and Beatty Raymond are right here on Waverly Court. And Sissy Dean in Waverly Place. For November 30th, it came in. We'd like to welcome all of you to the community
Thank you.
and to say thank you to Martha for putting up with all of us for a pandemic year.
Thank you. Thank you. I believe we have covered everything on, yes, yes, sir.
Maybe that's why I didn't get a resident handbook. I will get into those.
Okay,
There's new resident handbooks being prepared.
yes, I don't need,
Tell them.
the new resident handbooks are now in the works. They're being,
I did not receive one when I moved in, and I'm not on your list, so
oh,
I don't have to pay you.
I'm so sorry. We're going to work on that. Thank you. Is there anyone else here that is a new resident since March of 2020 that we missed? Because we don't want to miss you. Okay. And please, those of you who are here, you've heard the names from your neighborhoods. Encourage those people to come to these meetings. They are members, they are voting members, and the meetings aren't always this dull and just business. Sometimes we actually have some entertainment. We have covered everything on the agenda unless there is another issue. If you have questions, yes.
I wanted to introduce myself. I'm a board member that came in at the end. Kind of talking
I'm sorry, Maureen.
And my name, I don't look like my picture on the wall, but my name is in the booklet if you've ever seen me.
Maureen Brown. Thank you, Maureen. Yes.
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 Will they get the names of all these new people?
Yes.
Okay.
They will. It's just been difficult because we couldn't be together and it's kind of slowed down. But
Thank you for your support for all that you all do. And for everybody else who's here, for all that you have to do in quarantining. And I know it's been difficult on Joe and the staff to continue to reinforce these rules, but the important part is that we kept them safe, and Joe did a fabulous job, and we will have as well.
thank you, Maureen. I don't need that. Yes.
I have a question. What is the most recent edition of the bylaws for the residence council?
His question is, what is the most recent edition of the bylaws? I have the bylaws with me, and I know what those dates are, but in my head, they're not there. After the meeting, I'll be glad to share that with you. Oh,
2016.
2016. The bylaws. Okay.
They were updated after that.
Okay, I have them in my material here today, and I'll be glad to look that up after the meeting. Okay? Is there any other concern? Yes?
Is this time for questions? You said something about waiting to get the meeting.
Yes, go ahead. We still have 15 minutes, so if there are questions.
Have you explained the entire organization? You've got a real talented group of people, I'm sure, and I don't see any committees of people that are advocating maybe landscaping improvements or physical improvements. And I know that we could provide a lot of information to get value.
Dick tells me that those are being formed. Is that right, Joe?
I guess what, if I'm trying to understand, there should be, the committees should be on the dais and they should announce the committees. Is that what you're saying? So you guys know who the committees are? Yeah. Okay, so that's a good, very good point. And I think one of the things we're working on in the resident handbook is to have all of those listed. And our hope is we've got a meeting next Thursday with the residents who are involved in redefining the resident handbook. And hopefully we'll get it to you by the end of January, that completed handbook. And in it, you'll have that list of all the different committees that are involved with resident council.
If there's nothing else, okay. All right, just a moment.
Elevated, and I live in Norwright, and there are only 6 apartments up there, 5 of which have people in them now. But there's also the ones under, next to the dining room, and I believe there's somebody there also. So maybe we need a representative on the council. I don't know, but I'm not volunteering. I'm in. You're in. Oh, good.
Yep, Lynn Bear.
But she was not mentioned, and I just think. No, she was not, but I can.
Thank you, Lynn. All right, yes. Judy?
But yes, question, at the executive committee meetings once a month, are residents available and invited to attend those if they want to? Or is it strictly closed unless you go into executive session?
It is a closed meeting, but you can be invited. It isn't just everybody can show up.
And there's also a link on our Herald.
Okay. The meetings are closed, but you can come by invitation.
Okay, and also, if a person or a group has concerns that they want to bring to the board, when and how do they do that?
Which board are you speaking of?
The residents' council.
The residents, okay. Her question is, if a resident has a concern, how do they bring it to the residents' council? In writing. But first of all, the concern should go through the order that Joe spoke of, through that department, and then...
I'm not talking about chicken. I'm talking about if we have a concern that we want to bring to the residents' council in writing, what is the procedure to do that? Do it in writing, give it to...
To the president.
Okay, thank you.
Someone else had their hand up? Now, I have one other thing before we adjourn. Okay, play.
Let me start.
Play, yes. Okay. I would like to say thank you to everyone these past 2 years. They have been a challenge, but we did it. And it's been my pleasure to serve as your president, and I now hand the gavel to Mr. Huggins. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue.
I was just thinking now, in this case, I think the screw up in the chapel,
The chaplain?
no, the screw up
Yeah?
on getting the chapel ready
Oh, yeah.
needs to be addressed, because this has come up before,
Yep.
and it always, I said to Jono, what happened? He said, I said, we need 100 chairs. He said, no, you're not supposed to have 100 chairs.
He said the same thing to me.
And I said, it's been approved. And he said, well, I never saw it. So,
I already spoke to Joe about that. I said John didn't know, and Joe says he's gonna look into it. We'll see.
well, but this came up plenty of times before. You go, I dare you to go talk to Carol and say that there was a screw up.
Well, I talked to Carol this morning.
No, but I mean, I dare you to go talk to Carol and say, nobody from maintenance was in the chapel to set it up. And when they came, they weren't aware of what needed to be done. And she'll start yelling and screaming like, I give them the green sheet and they know. Blah, 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 blah.
I can't understand where the screw up was because I talked to Carol this morning, I talked to Lisa Lewis, and they were both aware of that the form had come in, and so who's not getting their orders? Who's not getting their daily orders?
Something's not going to the people that are executing in maintenance. You know, it's a organizational issue in maintenance.
I have been dying to meet you since I got here, and for two reasons. One is those letters you write, and that thing is absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So now I want to know, have I heard your name a lot before you teach school? I can believe that.
Yeah.
Or did you ever do anything for the city?
No.
I thought maybe...
I taught school, but not here. I taught school in North Florida, in the Orange Park area.
Oh, I'm from Jacksonville.
Oh, okay.
Then my granddaughter, moved to Orange Park and loved it, and she wanted to be there because the school system.
Yep, that's why we were there.